Good morning, third grade. Are we ready for a new spelling list? I can't believe we're on 26. Holy smokes. So I made this is my big cloud up here because cloud is one of your words. So this is list 26. It's going to be helpful if you get out your workbook page and turn to page 102. You can follow along with me. If not, you can just listen, but it might be easier to see it in your book along with me so you're following along. So your rule for the words this week in your list is when you have a consonant plus a Y, we have to change the Y to an I before adding a suffix that begins with E. And our suffixes go at the end of the word, correct? They're not a prefix. Prefix goes at the beginning, suffix goes at the end. And our suffixes are ER, ES, and EST. So here's our E's. So I'm going to say that again. Please make sure you're paying attention and listening because it could be tricky if you're not sure. So when you have a consonant plus Y, such as the word shady, so we have a consonant D and a Y, we're going to change the Y to I. So let's do that. I gave some examples over here. So I have the word shady. I'm going to write, so I need to change my Y to an I. So I'm going to write S-H-A-D. Say goodbye to the Y. We're going to add the E. And then I believe your other word, let me look in the book here, is shadier. So we're going to add the E-R. So we just need to change the Y to an I before we add a suffix that begins with E. So this is your example for shady. And we have shadier. So notice we changed the I before we added the suffix ER. Okay, let's do number 2. I have the word foggy. So I have my consonant here, G, and a Y. So now I know I need to change my Y to an I. So let's write that. F-O-G-G-I. And then your word in here is foggiest. So we're adding the suffix est. So before we do that, we have to change that Y to an I. Okay? Number 3, the word supply. So I see my L here as a consonant plus the Y, so I know I need to change my Y to what letter? An I. Very good. Supply. So S-U-P-P-L-I. And then here we're adding the ES. I tried to choose one of every suffix so that we're practicing every one. So again, let me grab a different color. In these words, we're changing the Y to an I, the Y to an I, before we add this suffix. Remember the tip I gave you guys a while back? The suffix, it actually might have been your last list, actually, I believe, where you had to drop that E before you added the ED or the ES. These stay together. Okay, so that's why and I know it seemed weird, like I know the word care, we had to drop that E and then add another E, but the ED is what you're adding. So you're saying goodbye to the E and adding the ED. So here, I'm just wanted to review that these suffix letters stay together. This is one suffix. Okay? Real quick, I sent out an email. Sorry about my table. I sent out an email to you and your parents that Spelling City, and I just did like the free membership because it's kind of costly. But their company's offering an extended like free premium 3 months, which is awesome, which opens up more games for you guys to play because I know some of you were getting bored with the ones that were free. So there's some new games and you're able to get on there and view your list. I already have the list up. And you're able to take practice tests on there and they'll show you, oh, you missed, 4 and that's however much percent it is. So that kind of gives you a heads up for your test. And then for me, I'm so excited. I actually put your tests on there too. So you're actually going to get on Spelling City and take your test, and then it grades it for me and everything. So, but there's ways around it. If you need like an extension on your test, that's fine. If you need it reset because maybe you just had a bad week and you failed it or whatever, and you need to retake it, not a problem. Just let me know. And so email me or text message me or Google chat me or something if you have any technical issues. But that's kind of a really neat feature, I think, and kind of gives you another thing to do. So this week, your assignment, and everything's going to be due Friday again, is going to be your 4 workbook pages. And then I do want you to go ahead and you have a new username and a password, and you'll actually log in as student this time instead of under the teacher one. And I want you to make sure that stuff works and that you're able to access the games, and make sure you're able to access the games, because if not, then you need to let me know so that I can adjust so that you're able to take your test. Your assignment for Spelling City is to play at least 2 games and 2 new games. Try to pick 2 new games that you haven't played before. If you want to fool around and play 5 or 6 games or 10 games, knock your socks off. That's totally fine. I'm only requiring you to play at least 2. And then, so 2 weeks ago, I also had you do extras where you could pick what you wanted to do, like ABC order or the syllable spelling. Sentences and stories. I'm not requiring you to do any of that this week, just the Spelling City. However, if you want extra practice, I know a lot of you don't like 3 times each, but that's really good to drill those words in your head one more time on Thursday before your test on Friday. Especially those of you who maybe struggle a little bit more with, and the list depends too on what you're struggling with. But if you tend to struggle a little bit more with spelling, I would recommend doing your 3 times each just for extra, but you don't have to, and you don't have to turn it in for me. Okay? Happy spelling!